This week, we're headed to the bottom where the ocean depths reveal species like golden tiles, snowy grouper, queen snappers, and so many more, right, Bree?
That's right, Rick. Join us as we explore the mysteries of the deep and brings these beauties to the surface. We're taking you deep dropping on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
This is the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and first of all, we want to wish everyone a happy 4th of July. Rick, with this long weekend ahead of us, it'll be a busy one out there on the water, so where else better to be than out deep catching them up?
Well, but you know what? More importantly, when I think about the 4th of July, Bree,
What do you
I
think of?
about another thing that we have in common.
What?
Your birthday.
Oh.
Not only is it the
That's
country's
me.
birthday, but look at
Wow.
what we dug up, the baby Bree.
You dug those up because I'm 34, so that's like 32 years old right there. Woo! Same skin tone though. Always been a beach baby. There we go.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
sweet girl.
Thank you. That was so sweet. All right. Well, I know who has all the deep drop fixins over at the CCA workbench, and of course, it's our firecracker Farrell.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my
Firecracker
gosh!
Farrell.
I did it.
Well, we've got a lot of deep dropping stuff over here, and you know, summertime is a good time to get down to the very deepest parts of the places where you want to fish. So we're going to talk about it today.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about it. All right, let's start our long weekend off in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region, where the deep drop opportunities are endless. Let's hear it, Hag.
We've got some great deep dropping on our coast. With today's 3, 4, 5 motor boats out there right now, a lot of these fishing boats get in excess anywhere from 60 to 80 miles an hour. And getting out deep is becoming more and more common. Captain Rob Davenport, a big nasty, he kind of specializes in deep dropping. He fishes anywhere from 5 to 1,000 feet and catches a variety of species. Big kitty Mitchells, queen snapper, yellow eyes, golden tiles, blue line tiles, yellow edges, snowy groupers, and warsaws. Basically, what you need is a good high-speed reel. 100-pound braid is usually what most people put on it, and they're using a chicken rig when they're dropping down there. They're dropping 2 or 3 hooks on a bait to 5 hooks on a bait, 5 to 12-aught circle hook, depending on what you're fishing for. Anywhere to 2 to 5 pounds of lead. That's one thing on our side. We have a lot less current than most people on the West Coast, so we have a lot less current over here, so we can get away with a lot less weight. And you're looking for mostly hard bottom when you get out there. The only thing that's going to be in the mud is those golden tiles. They'll be in the mud, but everything else is going to be on hard bottom. Any kind of rock you find out there and kind of hump. Either cut squid or barracuda strips works really well. Some of the shallower stuff, like kitty Mitchells, you can get away with using live baits. And I got a couple of photos here from Captain Rob on a recent trip. Beautiful queen snapper.
Sure is, for sure.
Giant Warsaw.
Oh, little grouper. Ha.
Yeah.
Nice, good stuff there, Hag. All right, what else you got for us this week?
We're staying with the grouper thing, and Captain Rob from Big Nasty reports the black grouper bite. We're doing really good. Same area you're catching your other grouper. Just put a bigger bait down, leave it alone. Use a really long leader, 8 to 10 foot of leader, 100-pound fluorocarbon leaders, 12 to 16 ounces of lead, depending on the current. 10-aught circle hook, and put those bigger baits down there. And anywhere from 170 to 200 feet of water, and you might reel up one of these. I got a photo here of Captain Crystal with a beautiful carbo.
There you go.
Ooh.
Nice. All right, let's go
Pretty
in.
regular.
Yeah, man, let's go inshore.
With the moons we've been having right now, Captain Jim and Big Daddy Sport Fishing out of St. Pete reports a great mangrove snapper bite. Near shore rock piles, ledges, shallow water wrecks. Captain Jim's chumming them up on the surface with fresh cut white bait, drifting them back 8 to 10 feet, a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader with a 1-aught circle hook. And Captain Jim's been targeting those spots on the slower moving tides or right at the change of the tide and doing real well with them, bringing them right up to the top of the water and catching them pretty good. And the snook bite is going really well right now in the lower half of the region. It's been heating up. The outgoing tide is producing some really big females, a ton of those smaller buck snook that are in there right now. looking for those females to spawn with. Anywhere from 25 to 37 inches are being caught pretty regularly. A few over the 40 mark are being also caught. The outgoing tide tends to be a little dirtier when you get around the passes, so you can bump up your leader a little bit and get away with a little heavier leader, 30 to 40 pound, even 50 pound fluorocarbon leader, 6/0 to 7/0 trocar circle hook with a grass grunt or a pinfish, either weighted or free line, depending on what part of the tide you're in right now. If it's stronger, put a lead on them, get them down there a little bit deeper. If it's lighter, a little less lead or no lead at all. The next moon, we'll still be having a lot of snook going out in these breeder spawn balls. There'll be one female with 15 or 20 snook around her, pushing on her and pushing her out the tide to get her to spawn in the late afternoon. Pretty cool to see that in the late afternoon.
Well, thanks for starting us off this week, Jeff. We're going to go ahead and take a look at those Ozella Key Marina hotspots from the Northwest region. He says inshore, the snook on the beaches and the passes using pinfish and grunts for bait. And then offshore, the mangrove snappers can be found on the high relief structure in 25 to 75 feet of water.
All right, well, Captain Tommy Derringer is getting us prepared for some barbecue action this weekend in the Front Runner Boats Northeast region. Show us your mangoes, Tommy.
Hey, Bree, happy birthday.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Happy 4th of July, everybody, too. And hope everybody has a great weekend. Yeah, deep dropping here in my region, it is a thing. I don't really know many people that do it. If somebody does have a report for me, please get it to me. Give me a picture. I'll put it up here next week maybe. But right now I'm talking mangrove snappers. We've got a great bite going on right now, from June through August, especially around the new and full moons. We have an epic mango bite, snapper bite happening throughout the region. And these are world-class mangrove snappers too. In fact, some of our offshore captains chase world record mangroves in the summer months. So if you're looking to do something like that, this would be the time to book a trip with one of those offshore captains. Now, I spoke to a couple of those snapper experts this week, and they tell me that the mangrove and the mutton snapper too, they've been chewing big time. Captain Jimmy Laidler from the Legend Fishing Charters, he's been catching big numbers of mangroves in that 120 to 140 foot range east of St. Augustine. Now, most of those fish, they're coming from a flat line. He's chumming those fish towards the surface using chunk sardines or a variety of other cut baits. And there's also some big muttons in those same areas. Those muttons don't tend to come up as much as the mangoes do, but put a few baits down in the water column, and it's a good bet you're going to get a big mutton right now. The mangrove snappers, they're running about 8 to 10 pounds on average, which is big. And I've seen some huge muttons over the past couple of weeks coming to the dock. And I've got a picture here, guys. Captain Jimmy Laidler, he sent me this picture from a recent trip aboard the Legend. And that's a whole lot of mangroves and muttons, man. That's a crazy haul right there.
That is a great haul. Good job, guys. Love to see them snappers on the deck. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the cobias.
Rick, we got the cobia, man. We had a really slow cobia season in the spring this year, but you're probably surprised to hear, most people in the region are surprised to hear me talk about. We do have a sneaky little cobia run happening right now. I'll probably get yelled out from some of the guys for putting it out there, but there's been some manta rays and some free swimming cobias along the beach and on some of the close-in wrecks and reefs as well, from Mayport to Matanzas Inlet. Now, there's no rhyme or reason to where you're going to find those manta rays, but if you do, it's a good thing. So if you're running the beach this weekend, might be a good idea to have a pitch rod ready with a cobia jig on it, ready to go. And I've got a picture here. Captain Ricky Popur from Seaco Charters, man, he sent me this picture, a really cool picture of a couple of nice free swimmers they caught earlier this week. And they even had a little bonus kingfish in there as well.
Nice.
I'm moving inshore, guys. Man, it has been hot out there this week, but the redfish bite has been hot as well. With the tide being up early, it's a good weekend to get out there early and toss a topwater plug. We've been doing really well with that Berkeley cane walker. The redfish seem to really like that plug. But if the wind is calm right now at first light, we've also been able to sight fish some reds by looking for waking and busting fish. We're tossing a saltwater assassin paddle tail to those guys. Now, if you're brave enough to be out there in that afternoon heat for that lower water, cut mullet or cut crab's been working well for the redfish. The water's really hot in that afternoon low tide, so making it as easy as possible for the redfish to find that bait and eat it is a way to go right now. And hey, we're talking about redfish. So guys, just wanted to quickly mention and remind everybody there's still plenty of time for you guys to sign up for the CCA Star Tournament. You can catch a redfish and all kinds of other species too, and win all kinds of crazy cool prizes, some really great prizes. You still have until September 2nd. That's plenty of days left. Go to ccaflstar.com and sign up for that thing. You have a really good chance of winning some great prizes. Now, staying inshore, that is, guys, and talking about the flounder. That bite has been consistent all summer long, and it's been really great this 4th of July week. You know, we've actually caught quite a few nice ones as bycatch when we're just tossing paddle tails for redfish up shallow. I've got some great reports also of those flatties at the jetties. And just use the go-to fish finder rig with a mullet or a mud minnow. Use enough weight to get that bait all the way down and hold the bottom. You're going to fish around the slack tides. That's been the best bet. There's also been a decent flounder bite happening off the beach and on some of those nearshore wrecks and reefs. You know, you can just use the same rigs that I mentioned before. And I've got one last picture here. This is my man, Brian Nasworth, with a doormat flounder that he caught with me last week on a saltwater assassin paddle tail. And he caught that fish in like 6 inches of water. We thought it was a big redfish. It ripped some drag, man.
Well, Tommy, you know, just like in April, we're in a transition month. I think we're in a transition month from spring to summer. So we're going to have a little adjusting. Great report this week. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region. Tommy says inshore, the redfish and the snook on the early morning higher water. Toss that Berkeley cane walker around the schools of finger mullet. And then offshore, the mangrove and mutton snappers in 120 to 160 feet. Chum them using some cut sardines, Bree.
All right, well, coming up next, Dave Farrell is diving off the deep end over at the CCA workbench for the Fish Bites Trading Post rigs and techniques.
Yep, you need to make sure you guys go out and get you some chicken rigs made especially for deep dropping, because that's what everybody's using. Very nice.
Tip from Dave, very nice. And then we're seeing what the Real Legends Central East region is looking like with Captain Jim Russ. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. Sirius XM Marine. Weather, fish mapping, entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Berkeley Prospect Chrome. Fish Bites Trading Post. The first choice of First Coast anglers. Castaway Coffee. One taste and you'll be hooked. And Daiquiri Deck. Food, drinks, friends.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench. It's time for the Fish Bites Trading Post rigs and techniques. Dave,
Yes, sir.
let's talk a little bit about deep dropping.
Yeah, well, you know, we were talking earlier about deep dropping. You know, what is deep dropping? Well, you know, I've dropped for grouper and stuff in 250, 300 feet of water, and to me, that's deep dropping too.
Right.
But this is extreme deep dropping is mostly what we're talking about. Once you get past that 250, 300, even 400 feet, you know, then you're starting to get into the realm of electric reels and that sort of thing, and
Right.
and targeting different species of fish than we normally would. If you're going to be doing that really deep dropping, you're going to need a nice electric reel, probably. A lot of guys don't like to hand crank in over 500 feet of water. I've done it a few times, and let me tell you, it wears you out. You're usually using a weight that's, you know, 3 to 10 pounds, depending on the current that you're in and the depth that you're in. You want to use a heavy weight because you want to get down to the bottom quickly, but it's hard to lift that weight. So,
Right.
you know, that's where the electric reel comes in, and especially when you have a couple of fish on there. So you're going to be wanting to, you know, lighten up as much as you can, but you still need a good heavy weight when you're fishing deep because you don't want to be dropping forever.
Right.
Because when you're dropping forever, all your stuff gets pushed around by the current more, and then you're, you know, stringing it out, and it's really hard to, you know, stay on top of your gear, which is what you want to do. You want to try to be as much up and down as possible, even when you're in that deep, deep water. A good reel for an electric, I mean, a rod for an electric reel is that pin there. It's a Pin Ally 2 boat rod. It's got the bent butt on it. The bent butt, you know, allows you to keep the rod horizontal to the water surface.
Right.
It's got C-guide, stainless steel guides on it, zirconium insets, and a Pac Bay roller tip, as well as a Pac Bay bent butt. So
Right.
it's a great rod, and it's an E-glass rod, so you get some heavy stuff on there. It's not going to shatter on you.
I love that you can add the Abyss battery to it, and now you can walk around the boat instead
Exactly.
of being tied into a cord somewhere.
Yeah, the Abyss battery system, it's 14.8 volts. So, it has a ton of power. It lasts a long time. The older batteries would, 2 or 3 drops and you'd be done.
Right.
You can go 2 or 3 trips with this battery sometimes, depending on how deep you're dropping.
We had one of our Texas captains say he had 90 ups and downs with one battery.
Exactly. And you can go 1,000 cycles with that battery before you have to replace it, which is a ton.
Yeah, it is.
A ton of cycles. And if you're in the shallower water, that Penn Fathom 2 is great for dropping in, 200, 400 feet. One piece machine aluminum frame. It's not going to twist on you, which you're going to need when you're trying to pull up those big weights and whatnot. Duradrag system, stainless steel main pinion, 2-speed as well. Just a really nice heavy reel that's fast enough to get your stuff up from the bottom when you need to. You're going to be wanting to use like an 80-pound braid. This 80-pound Pro Spec Chrome is a great braid to use when you're deep dropping. It's very smooth. It's a premium braid, so it's not much stretch in it. So you're going to feel every nibble, even in 2,000 feet of water.
I love the blue color because you can see the blue against the blue.
There you go. Well, these are, like I was saying before in my teases, these are the kind of rigs you're going to be using, chicken rigs. When you're targeting tile fish and whatnot, you're going to want this thing to lay all the way on the ground. You put a big weight on the bottom to get you to the bottom, and you might want to put another weight up here at the front of it to make sure that the whole rig lays on the bottom, which is a trick that you need to use when you're fishing for tile fish, because that gets that whole rig on the bottom. You'll notice that a lot of these rigs have a little piece of chartreuse, piece of glow.
Right. So it gets way down there and still lighting up.
Light is life when you're in deep water.
Right.
So you're going to put a Siloom stick on here or a battery-powered light, but these are also good to have on every hook. Just a little piece of rubber shrink tube that's glow.
The fish bites.
Fish bites always is a good thing to have. If you want to put it on every other one, put a squid on one and a piece of fish bites on the other ones. If the squid comes off, you're still going to have bait down there. And that's the great thing about this fish bites. It's very hard to get it off. And when you're fishing in that deep of water and having to go up and down, you don't want to be coming up and down with no bait. So
No.
You want to make sure you have bait the whole time.
No, you're 100% correct.
There you go.
Rick, I do have to say, Dave, great job, but you're real legends. You're looking like a rocket poppy over there. Dave, where's your red, white, and blue? Come on.
A rock pop.
All right, in the Real Legends
boy.
Central East region, our red, white, and blue is looking more like golden and blue this weekend. Take us to the depths, Jim.
Well, first of all, happy birthday to you, Bree. And second of all, happy birthday to America. So want to say the guys and gals that are anglers in the Real Legends region are doing really, really well right now, especially in that 500 to 600 foot of depth water. It has been absolutely on fire for guys that are deep dropping. But when we're deep dropping, like Dave and Rick were talking about, we're generally talking 500 to 2,000 feet of water. With that 500 to 750 foot range, mainly where you're finding your golden and blue line tile fish, your golden edge grouper, and quite a few others. And then out in that 1,500 to 2,000 feet of water, you're finding swordfish and pomfrets and deeper water fish like that. But, lights, low skirts, squids, belly strips, fish bite strips, all work really good on these rigs. And obviously, if you're an extremely determined angler, put away the electric reel and get out one of those hand cranks. Now, I've seen Rick do that, so I know it can be done. But I'll tell you what, most guys around here are doing the electric reel thing. I've got a photo here of the Boykins with some really chunky yellow edge grouper that they caught the other day out of Canaveral.
Wow.
Nice, boy. Those look, I'm making me hungry now.
You should have seen when they cut into them, Rick. The fillets were snow white. I was drooling. Well, kingfish is my other species, and they're a staple around here in the offshore reefs and wrecks. During the summer months, most of the time you're going to find those around, you're going to bait fish that are over the top of those wrecks, or bait pods that are starting to work inshore. So get yourself a well full of pilchards or greenies or pogies and slow troll them around. You know, you're going to have a quiver of rods. It's going to have a couple of double trebles on it with those wire stinger rigs. To find, you know, when you find good areas of kingfish, you know, you find concentrations, stick around and just continue to circle in that area. You're going to catch more fish. Right now, Bethel Shoal in the Pines has been pretty good out of Sebastian. Pelican Flats, especially that middle part, has been okay. 8A has been fair, not great out of Canaveral. And then the Party Grounds outside of Ponce Inlet seem to be doing pretty good. And they actually had a really good beach bite earlier this week because there was some bait fish moved in there. Any kind of small flashy skirt that you put over the nose of the bait fish can add some extra attraction, especially if the water's dirty. And our average king mackerel's running about 10 to 20 pounds at this time. Got a picture of Tommy Palmer here with an unexpected catch while he was doing a little fishing out on those 70 to 90 foot reach for kings. Look at the size of this 60-pound wahoo he caught.
Yeah, he did.
Heck yeah, brother. I'll tell you what else we got. Inshore tarpon action has gotten a little tricky. Isolated areas in our region are holding fish still, though. A lot of our fish, I think, went offshore. I don't know where. They just disappeared. But we're waiting for them to come back. But in the Real Legends this week, Real Legends region this week, from Edgewater out to the Ponce Inlet, you're getting some small to medium fish in that 30 to 80 pound range. 6-inch to 9-inch mullet are working really good on a 5/0 to 7/0 circle hook. Talked with Captain Mike Mann of Fat Fish Guide Service up in New Smyrna, and he has been catching 3, 4, 5 fish a day whenever he's targeting these fish. Now, down at the complete opposite end, southern end of the region, Captain Glenn Austin reports that there's a decent amount of fish down there on the beach, but everything seems to be moving south, and those fish are using pilchards or greenies and are eating pilchards and greenies. Captain Glenn also suggests throwing a saltwater assassin, little P&V. That Houdini color has been really good on a 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce jig head, or any other kind of little dart style bait like that. Glenn's fish are actually running about 60 to 130 pounds this week, and you can find him at goingcoastalcharters.com. Got a picture here of Justin Hinman with one of the river tarpon that we put in the boat up in New Smyrna the other day. That was his first fish, so congratulations to Justin.
You got 30 seconds on the snook, bub. 30 seconds.
I got you, buddy. Let's just put it this way. The bite's been on fire. Absolutely on fire. I don't care if you're at Ponce Inlet, I don't care if you're at Canaveral, I don't care if you're at Sebastian, I don't care if you're at the river around Wabasso and Grant. Absolutely on fire. Croakers, pogies, and mullets, and 5-inch saltwater assassins, Artemis shads or super sea shads in the 6-inch size, and the black shad have been working really good, especially at night. Most of our fish are running 25 to 40 inches, and I've got pictures of Matt and Matthew with a couple of fish that we put in the boat with some live pogies the other day. Actually, that was Tuesday's trip.
All right, good job, bud. We're going to go and take a look at the Rodan Marine System hotspots from the Central East region. He says, inshore, snook on the mangrove-covered shorelines, docks, and spoil islands from Vero to Sebastian Inlet, free live mullet or croakers to fish up to 40 inches, and then offshore, mangrove snappers on the wrecks in 70 to 110 feet of water off of Ponce Inlet. Use live finger mullet, pilchards, or chunk sardines for fish up to 10 pounds. 10-pound mango snapper. Come on.
Drool. All right, we are halfway through the CCA Florida Star competition already, presented by Yamaha, and still don't have a winner in the tagged redfish division, presented by TH Marine. The Contender, Deck Cat, sitting on an infinity trailer, Spider Boat, Micro Draft Skiff on an infinity trailer, and the Sea-Doo Can-Am package are all still available. There are over 60 days of fishing left, so let me give you a little hint. If you're looking for the best places to target tagged redfish, take a trip to Charlotte or Citrus County, as each of these counties have 8 tagged redfish, which is double the number of any other county. Remember, any fish you catch this summer could earn you a share of $500,000 in prizes and scholarships, but you have to be registered and, of course, a member. So go to ccaflstar.com right now and sign up. All right, we're breaking out the electric reels in the Takeuchi Keys region coming up. But first, we're seeing how our Alto Equipment Northwest region is celebrating this weekend with Captain Ronnie Houston.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, Your Fish, Our Science, Bahio, Blue Light Blocking Radically Clear Polarized Fishing Sunglasses, Scoozy Shoes, the captain's choice for premium lightweight comfort. Sea Sucker, easy on, easy off, incredibly strong. Penn, let the battle begin. Kubota, together we do more. And the International Order of T. Roosevelt, protect your right to fish.
Well, as you can see, joining me is Nicholas, the CEO and the founder of Abyss Batteries. You know, Nick, one of the things that I really, truly love about your product line is that you have something for everything. So we make lithium batteries for a variety of different applications. Why don't we inform everybody what we're talking about here?
Absolutely. Yeah, we sure do, Rick. We offer 12-volt batteries, 24-volt, 36-volt, 48 and 72-volt golf cart batteries, and even electric fishing reel batteries.
So why should somebody consider lithium over a different type of battery?
So when you're comparing our battery with a lead acid or AGM, you're looking at like a Lamborghini compared to like a Toyota Corolla. You know, you have better performance, lighter weight, more efficient. Overall, just a better battery.
So, you know, this year you came out with a new battery for all the guys that are fishing electrics. We're talking about deep drop in the night. Why don't you tell everybody why you decided to do this?
Yeah, so it's a really unique product. My buddies and I were talking, and it was something that solves a problem. You know, getting rid of the clunky cords on the deck of the boat, being able to just plug it in, strap it in, and, you know, walk around the entire boat. It's an amazing feature. And, you know, even if you have your electric reel on your boat, go on your buddy's boat, you don't have to worry about the plugs and the interchangeable.
Yeah, it straps right to the rod.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. Why lithium over the other stuff? I mean, what I'm saying is the technology. Why should somebody consider Abyss over your competition?
So what makes our batteries proprietary, well, there's numerous reasons, but the first reason, compared to other batteries, so you're looking at a 12-volt, 120 amp hour Group 24 battery, we offer more capacity in a smaller case size and footprint. So a traditional competitor battery would be this size as a 12-100. Ours is 20 more amp hours. And you can compare, you know, truly how much smaller and more compact with more power is actually in this battery.
Now, if somebody's got a question or they want to know about your technology, where do they go? Where's the website?
AbyssBattery.com.
All right, guys, there it is, right from the horse's mouth. Good job, bud. You did a great job.
Thank you, Rick.
Bree, we got to electrify another battery, so where are we going?
That was good. All right, our captain in the Takeuchi Keys region has a lot of good tips for you anglers dropping it low this weekend. So, Ridge, tell us how it's done.
You know, when it comes to deep dropping, the only way to do it, in my opinion, is one of two ways. Rule number one, there has to be two rods. And rule number two, it's always a competition. Deep dropping is a fun way to catch all different kinds of fish, from a variety of different snappers and groupers to barrelfish and all kinds of creatures of the deep. Some guys will hand crank on some of the shallower spots, but it's more common to go out there with electric reels and drop R&R chicken rigs or deep drop rigs with 4 to 8 pounds of lead and 400 to 1,100 feet of water, and make sure to have a variety of different LP disco lights because it's pretty dark down there. Different species will hold in different depths, and make sure to keep an eye on your bottom machine looking for bait and different structures from pinnacles, hills, valleys, plateaus, and etc. Pay close attention to where on that structure that you're marking your fish, and this will help you reset successfully. For bait, guys are using squid, bonita strips, chunks of cuda, or big strips of fish bites, and side drift through your spot, fishing on the bottom, keeping a close eye on the rod tip, looking for that tap-tap. Once you have one on, that's when the game starts. Do I slack up and go for one more, or do I go the safe route and start coming up? Personally, after the fish bites, I like to try and come up 20 feet or so to drive that hook down, and then drop back down to the bottom to try and get a few more. I got a photo of Captain Mike Towdy with a giant yellow eye that he got off of Marathon not too long ago.
Nice. All right.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it is. Tell me about the yellowtails, Bo.
I spoke to Captain Justin Miller off the Real McCoy out of Bud and Mary's, and he says the snapper fishing is still on fire. Yellowtails from 60 to 90 feet of water. There's a few mangroves mixed in as well, and you're going to anchor or spot luck on the edge of that, on the edge, and start chumming. Chum with frozen chum, oats, and sand, and you can mix some mayonnaise oil in if you want. Use light spinners with 10 to 12 pound mono tied straight to a yellowtail jig, and for bait, use ballyhoos, cut ballyhoos, shrimp, or fish bites. And have a bottom rod out too, because there's some bigger muttons around also.
Go inshore.
The snook fishing is still good in the backcountry of Key Largo and Islamorada. Work the edges of the flats, poles, and the shorelines of Florida Bay, poling in the clean water on the edges of the tannic lines and mullet muds. Throw Fenwick Pro Elite medium to medium light rods with 10 to 15 pound Berkeley X5 braided line and a 30 to 40 pound leader. Bounce Bass Assassin 5-inch jerkbaits or 4-inch sea shads and Smoke Wagon, Houdini, Mama's 14 karat on a weedless Eagle Claw hook or a 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce jig head. A gulp shrimp is always a good alternative if it starts to get overcast and hard to see the fish. And keep an eye out for rolling tarpon mixed in and along with some reds that are going to be mixed in also. I have a photo of young Michael with a nice snook that we got on our last trip. Big bass assassin hanging out of his face.
Nice. All right, let's go. What else you got?
Mangrove snappers in the backcountry of Islamorada and in the Middle Keys. Make sure to have some type of current, an anchor or spot lock on the edges of the banks or in the trenches and start chumming. Take your time with 1 or 2 rods at a time with a long 20-pound leader and a 3/0 Eagle Claw circle hook. Use cut pin fish or small pilchards, and you're going to pin them down in the chum with an egg weight about 2 feet from the hook, and fish with the bail open and your finger on the line waiting for the bump. Feed line out with no resistance for 30 to 45 seconds as the snapper is taking the bait away from his friends and then eating it. When the fish stops taking line, that's when you would close the bail and start reeling. Keep the rod tip up nice and high. Keep these snappers from digging down into the grass. And remember, guys, mangrove snappers are 5 per person and 10 inches long out of the 10 snapper aggregate limit.
All right, Ridge, great report from the Florida Keys region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Ridge says that inshore, the mangrove snappers on the edges of the banks and in the trenches anchor up and start chumming and free lining cut pinfish along with a 20-foot leader and a 3/0 Eagle Claw circle hook. And then offshore, the yellowtails from 60 to 90 feet of water. Anchor or spot lock and try frozen chump, sand, and oats, free line baits like cut ballyhoo shrimp, or fish bites behind the boat on 10 to 12 pound mono-tied straight to the yellowtail jig.
Man, I wish I was fishing with Captain Ridge Murphy in the Keys this weekend.
I'm going
Birthday
to
present?
be.
Well, maybe. I know
Come
you
on.
will be. You
Well,
will
bring
be.
them children and come out.
I'm not bringing the children.
Okay.
All right, now let's see what tournaments are going on in the Florida Keys. Up first this week is the Key West Association of Realtors Fishing Tournament, July 12th through the 13th, where anglers fish for the largest dolphin, tuna, and wahoo by weight. Next, we have the Del Brown Invitational Permit Tournament, July 14th through the 17th in Sugarloaf Key, where elite anglers fly fish on Lower Keys flats for permit and bonefish to earn awards and honor the late angling pioneer who caught and released more than 500 permit on fly during his lifetime. Then is the Key West Marlin Tournament, set for July 17th through the 20th, with a guaranteed $50,000 in cash prizes and coincides with the annual Hemingway Days celebration. And last is the second annual Bartenders Dolphin Tournament in Layton, which is a one-day, fun-day dolphin tournament on August 12th that is open to bartenders and restaurant employees fishing for cash prizes and good times. That's my kind of tournament right there. For more information on these Keys tournaments and more, head to flakeys.com. All right, well, along with your Stars and Stripes, make sure you've got your vertical jigs and electric
Or your
reels.
popsicle outfit.
Your Rocket Pops at the ready in the Alto Equipment Southwest region. Go for it, Ronnie.
Well, Bree, hope everybody out there has a safe and great 4th of July weekend. A couple quick tips for deep dropping on the southwest coast of Florida. Now, most of our deep dropping starts as shallow as 450 feet, and you can get out to about 1,200 feet. Now, anything shallower, you can use a variety of vertical jigs to catch a variety of grouper in those ranges. But anything deeper, guys, you want to go to the electric reels, and they're suggested with multi-hook rigs. A variety of captains I've talked to said, 3 pounds of lead will actually get the job done. Baits they suggest would be squid is the number one bait, but you want to be using also bait chunks, whether it be bonita, blue runner. The fresher the bait, the better. Well, you can also even use fish bites out in those ranges. Now, 60-pound braid, 5-pound braid is the norm on the electronics, but jigs on spinning reels will also get the job done. 40-pound braid will also be suggested. I got a prime example of a nice Kitty Mitchell out there deep dropping with Dilly Fish Company.
Wow.
All right,
That's
a big one,
Second
Bob.
offshore spear is going to be the red snapper. Now, that bite is still consistent as long as we have the good weather. You want to concentrate your efforts in that 150 right now to 180-foot range all through the region. Now, some days, it depends upon the current. If the current's moving really good, limits have been coming quick. Guys are telling me if the tide slacks up, you have to move around to several spots, but sooner or later you're going to land on them and catch your limits. This is why they also suggest having a variety of bait on board is going to be the key. The variety of baits you're going to need, just in case the fish are finicky, is going to be live pinfish or some live herring, even cigar minnows, but also a variety of cut baits. They also say the prime cut bait to start off with squid. You can also, like I said, have another variety of cut baits on board. And hog wild charters with another limit of red snappers, and while coming back in about 115 feet of water, hooking up with some African pompanos.
Nice.
Inshore bite. Now, the bite has really picked up in the last week, especially with all the rain we're having on the beaches, all along the coast, as long as the nighttime bite from Fort Myers Beach to Punta Gorda, along intercoastal docks and seawalls. But to the south, Goodland, all the way down into the Everglades, concentrating on the outer Gulf Islands and passes, most fish are being caught on live bait. You have to run out further to catch some of these due to the fresh water, but if you can't, pinfish also work, as well as pilchards when you can find them. They're also chewing a variety of artificials. Number ones are going to be the topwater walk the dog lures. You can use the Berkeley jukes, match the hatch pilchard in color, soft plastic bass assassin shrimp, and paddle tails in that more tannic water, the root beer, the white, and the glove in catching numbers. And a great bite that's happened in the last week with Captain Chris Broom out of Naples. He's catching plenty of snook right now. Last species is going to be the redfish. I'm getting a variety of reports right now from Pavilion Key to Highland Beach, but you want to be fishing mid-tide before the water gets too high along the Mango shoreline. But to the north, Pine Island Sound, fishing Independent Islands, as well as the north shore of Pine Island Marina. But you can run further north and also fish the West Wall if you get that afternoon sea breeze. All areas I've mentioned, from the first half of the incoming to the last half of the outgoing, so the fish aren't up in the mangrove. When the water gets too high in the heat of the day, cut baits is going to work, as well as chumming live pilchards or using live pinfish with cut tails. But you can also call them out with topwater walk the dog lures, gold spoons in that tannic water, and 4-inch paddle tails on the lower water. And I got a nice picture of an oversized redfish caught this week with Captain Derek Dappin. And the suggestion I want to give you is this is the time of year I throw a lot of topwater plugs, and it doesn't matter what type of topwater lure you use. I've had some guys in the last couple weeks. Fenwick has been a big comeback with their saltwater rods. The rod I'm going to suggest you is that medium 8 to 17, whether it be the Inshore Elite Series or the World Class. You virtually don't have to do much. The lure is basically going to work itself. It's a 7-foot rod. Team that out with some 20-pound braid and possibly a 3,000 to 3,500 10 reel, and the lure will actually work for yourself. Once you get that cadence right, catch fish.
I'm glad you promoted that stuff, Ronnie. I'm glad you like the rods and reels. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the battery tender hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, the juvenile tarpon, Peace River, the Caloosahatchee River, early in the morning, late in the evening before dark, along the lee shorelines, Bree. And then offshore, the African pompanos, Goodland to Fort Myers Beach, 115 to 140 feet of water, using a variety of cut baits.
African pompano. Ooh. I love it. All right, anglers, get ready for the 43rd annual Key West Marlin Tournament, July 17th through the 20th, with record-breaking payouts, legendary offshore angling, and nightly festivities in the iconic Florida Keys. A Hemingway-esque adventure awaits. Make sure you get registered at keywestmarlin.com.
Now that we got the front runner, maybe we should go do that.
Maybe we should go do that. That's what you were trying to say to me? I knew you were excited. He's getting a boat. All right, we're anxiously waiting to see what Taco Marine new products Dave Farrell has for us at the CCA Workbench. Dave, sneak peek. Ooh, I like it.
You won't have to wait for very long, because here they are. Really cool new belt by AFCO, which, I always like the AFCOs.
Oh, I love those things. I'll be wearing that. All right, we'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Abyss Battery, power your pursuit. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, best lures, period. Black Oak LED, never be left in the dark. And Maverick Boat Group, Makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Constantly.
Constantly
working on my calves.
Well, it is time to be constantly working for the Taco Marine here at the CCA
Yes, sir.
Workbench. Time for new products, Dave.
Let's start with the shoes, those little
Okay,
baby shoes you
man.
got there. Men's Captiva by Scoozy Shoes. They're a hybrid boat casual shoe, incredibly light, like all the Scoozy shoes. Those are like 6.8 ounces or something, incredibly light. Smooth stretch binding construction. You notice there's no seam in the back, that nasty seam that always rubs against your heel.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
noticed
there. There's not even there. Non-abrasive, seamless comfort. Lightweight, like I said. Premium, natural cotton on the top. Wide tongue and a wide opening so you can slip them on and off real easily.
Yes, sir.
Which, I'm a big fan of the slip-ons. Non-marking, slip-resistant soles that have a lot of impact absorption in them. So, when you're bouncing up and down on the boat, you're going to keep your knees intact. Anti-odor, antimicrobial, molded footbed inside that you can take out and wash. Up to size 15. They're just a very comfortable boat shoe, just very, very comfortable. If you're going to order them, you might want to order a half size up from your normal size.
Full size.
A full size.
Because they don't make half size.
Well, a full size if you have wide feet, if you have really wide feet.
Right.
So, Anyway, go get those Scoozy shoes.
Okay.
Next, we have some Fish Bites Easy Pro offshore baits. We showed them a little bit when we were doing the deep drop segment earlier, but these are a long-lasting bait with extraordinary durability that are made for fishing offshore, deep water, groupers, snappers, whatever. They're nice and big, they're thick, they got that concentrated formula that replicates natural chemicals that fish use to find food and to track their food, and they release a powerful scent and a trail of feeding stimulants that were, it's a patent pending deal. Dr. Carr made these a long time ago. That stuff stimulates fish to eat.
Yeah.
And they come in a variety of colors and scents, and they include shrimp, crab, and squid. And 4 baits per bag, 4 inches long. They don't come off. They have that nice piece of material sandwiched in there.
Yep.
So that when you put it on a hook, it's not going to come off. It's great. It's great for that deep dropping because they don't come off. So,
and it still
grouper,
tastes
snapper, tastes like the mashed potatoes.
Instant mashed potatoes. So they didn't mess with
I'm
the
sorry
formula
that
as
you
it
know
came
that.
out. The Easy Pros.
You can get that at your local tackle store or go to fishbites.com to get those. Next, we have the AFTCO Socorro fighting belt. This is perfect for heavier gear, 50 or 80 pound, but heck, you could use it with 30 pound if you wanted to. It's got extra thick EVA foam on the back, and it's got these vintage slots that contours to you for maximum comfort. It's got a stainless steel gimbal pin inside that you can adjust to make it horizontal or vertical, whichever you prefer and whichever your gimbal works. Double box sticks, 2-inch nylon straps that are really heavy duty, lightweight stamped aluminum front. This thing will look like this 10 years after you've been using it. I know mine do. Anodized gold, durable, corrosion resistant. Matches perfectly with all the AFTCO belts and the AFTCO Max Force harness as well, and adjusts to fit 20 inches up to a 50-inch waist.
And where do we go to find it?
AFTCO.com.
All right.
Next, we have the Sea Sucker single rod holder, an additional rod and reel storage on your boat. You can put it anywhere you want without having to drill holes into anything. That vacuum mount technology lets you put it on any flat vertical surface in your boat, and you can move it at will. You can put it there, and if you want it to move it, you just easily move it. Solid construction, easy to use, no bells and whistles needed for that. CCA Florida Gives Back collection, the little red CCA
Sea Sucker
Florida
Gives Back.
Yeah, it's the 25% of items purchased goes to the Coastal Conservation Association of Florida.
Nice
if it has
job,
the red on
Sea
it.
Sucker.
Yeah, Sea
Nice
Sucker
job.
does a good job.
Ridge and I are going to use these as rod holders for when we're bone fishing, when we're booger fishing, we don't want to touch the rod. We're going to put it on the front of the console, and then that way we can adjust the angle.
There you go. I've got 3 of them on my boat.
I love them.
So they work
Why,
great.
Rick? The
Good
cooler
job.
works just fine.
No,
Come on.
I didn't know about this until just now.
You're right. That's a smart move right there. All right, we're getting our patriotic on in the StarTron Central West region. So, Captain Page, tell us what we're catching this fine 4th of July weekend.
Red, white, and blue, y'all. Red, white, and blue.
in the Starcher on Central West region, the deep drop game has become really popular. And, you know, with these new high-speed catamarans and these deep B boats like the new one Rick's building that front runner, it doesn't take but a few hours to what used to take a half a day to a day to get out to the ground. So I'm going to just read you guys what's going on right now from one of my good offshore captains, Captain Tim Noe of Gulf Coast Ventures. And he says deep drop fishing has been really good, starting with blue line tilefish. They can be found in great numbers from 550 to 800 feet. Squid's working well. Next would be the yellow edge grouper. Best fishing for them has been 450 to 600 feet. Whole squid have been best bets. Snowy grouper consistent from 750 to 950, concentrating on bait stacks and live bottom most of our recent trips. Kitty Mitchell grouper have been a nice addition to our box. Keep an eye out, he says, for the lots of blackfin tuna and wahoo that have been on the same fishing ground. Venturing out a little further, swordfish bite has been good in 1,400 to 1,800 feet of water. And that's recent trips that Captain Tim has made. And my photo tonight is of a beautiful queen snapper that he got on one of his recent trips.
Man, that's a beautiful queen, bub. All right.
Now staying in the snapper, the red snapper, you know, we're already well into the snapper season, and the weather, Rick, has been really good for once, to where bay boats are able to get out and get their limit. 90 feet's been the number to start at, but I've heard guys do it on the bigger ones, 150 to 200 feet, live pinfish, but don't be afraid to put down a frozen sardine, because once you locate them, they're going to eat. I've got a good photo tonight of the man himself, Captain Jason, full send stock with a full-size American red.
Wow. All right, inshore, where you make your money there, Paige.
Snook, good strong moon means good strong tides. Whenever we get tides in that 2.5 down to like a negative 0.1, we got good moving water, and the snook are really active. On those mediocre tides, they don't seem to bite as good. Fish around your oyster bar and mangrove points, areas like Palmasola, Caracia, Rattlesnake Key, Emerson Point, down south, Turtle Bay, Bull Bay, and even over there by Placida Sound out in front there of Whiddens Creek. Good points to fish, and then those afternoon outgoing tides in the passes. Don't be afraid to throw topwater plug in the morning, or if the floating grass isn't too bad. And then those afternoon outgoing tides, live ladyfish, silver mullet, even chunks of mullet. And don't be afraid to put a crab on the hook, because that's what's flushing out those passes. I've got a snook photo tonight of the Manatee River man himself, Captain Griffin Dean, with a full-size Manatee River snook.
Wow.
Nice.
What else you got? Tarpon?
Tarpon, my last one. Beach fishing, still productive. They're catching more on baits on the bottom, set up with your spot lock or your trolling motor, or anchored instead of throwing at moving schools. And then a lot of fish have moved up in the bay, Rick, and they're in there eating on those small glass minnow schools. I've been doing pretty good with the 90, the smaller stick shad in the bone pattern. And my last photo tonight is of a young man that entered the Sarasota Tarpon Camp that they had a week ago, and that was with Captain Devin York.
All right, Captain Page, great job. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots. He says that inshore, snook, fish the afternoon outgoing tide with live free line pinfish or grunts at New Pass, Venice Jetty, or Stump Pass. Then offshore, mangrove snappers, the big snappers are holding on the ledges and the hard bottom areas, 90 to 120 feet of water off of Anna Maria. Use live pinfish for bait.
All right, well, when you're on the road this summer, show your support for Florida's fisheries with a Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate. Funds from the sale of the redfish tag directly support protecting and enhancing marine resources, habitat restoration, water quality, and coastal environmental education. Make sure you get yours now at your local DMV or redfishtag.com. I went last Friday. I got mine. It's on the way.
Nice.
It's coming. Do what I did. Go get yourself one.
That's right. Congratulations. Welcome
Thanks.
to the club,
Thanks.
my love.
All right, the Fish Bites East and Sea Sucker Panhandle region captains are ready to take you grocery shopping, so get your carts ready. And remember to keep up with everything fishing in Florida. Scan that QR code to see all of our social media channels and check out our website where you can easily browse and purchase any products you see here on the show, plus some show swag. So scan away and happy shopping. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by StarTron. Start, run, and store with StarTron. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. Takeuchi, from world first to world leader. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
You know, Bree, Yamaha doesn't make just big motors. They make the best 25 in the market. I want you to see what Lucy had to say about it.
Okay.
Hey guys, as you can tell, I have the product specialist from Yamaha, Lucy Bird. You know, Lucy, not a lot of people know this, but I actually got my start guiding duck hunters in Lake Okeechobee when I was a young guy. And when I look at this beautiful new 25 with the brown, chocolate brown, as well as the black logos, it immediately takes me back to my childhood of running around on the lake in a John boat.
Right, and a lot of hunters and fishers are especially excited about this motor because now we've got basically a muted color out on the water.
It looks like it's going to work very well for you. So let's talk a little bit about some of its features. What size lower units does this come in?
This will come in a 15 and 20 inch, right? And then of course we've got the pearlescent white kickers in the 25 and the 9.9s as well. The 25 comes in the 20 and 25 inch.
And then we also have the gray, traditional Yamaha gray, correct?
Yes, we do. So this F25 is going to come in white, gray, or matte brown now.
So guys, I know that if you're thinking about repowering your John boat or maybe your duck boat, whatever it may be, whether you live in the panhandle of Florida or the Gulf Coast of Mississippi and Alabama or even potentially any place in Texas, maybe this should be the consideration on your next purchase for a new 25 tiller. Go check out the Yamaha, and where do they go?
YamahaOutboards.com.
That's some good stuff right there,
Yeah,
Rick.
man, we covered all the categories.
Yes, we did. All right, the key to deep dropping in the Fish Bites East region is finding the right bottom. So, Captain Holliday, can you help us out with this?
I can. It's pretty simple. Sand is bad, mud is good. That's really the key. Get away from the sand, find the mud bottom. In my region, that's anywhere from 450 feet to 700 feet of water. And you just want to move around, try a few areas until you locate the good fish. A lot of times you'll find small fish. Just keep moving until you find the better fish. Then motor back up current once you do. Make that drop again. Most folks use electric reels with multiple circle hooked, deep drop rig, like the standard deep drop rig. Anywhere from 10 to 60 ounces of weight, depending on the current. And, the key is you want enough weight to get that weight bouncing in the mud. So the sight feeders like tilefish and rosefish and those long fin sea bass, they see those puffs of mud that the weights make, and then they come over to check it out and find the bait. And for bait, everything from a squid to a pilchard will work. Average tilefish is going to be 5 to 12 pounds in my region. And I have a photo of Gabe Arrington. He got that tilefish and rosefish in 582 feet of water off of Hope Sound. And those fish ate whole squid for bait.
Nice.
Other thing we got going, the summer sailfish bite right now is going strong. It's in its peak. The fish are really spread out anywhere from 60 to 200 feet of water, but there's a lot of fish. Everybody out there seemed to run into sailfish the last couple days. A lot of boats are seeing free jumpers or just fish floating on the surface and then running over to that area, putting out baits and getting the hook up. The fish are traveling in small pods, so when you hook one, you want to keep a bait in the water to get multiple hookups at one time. You can even try casting a bait at a hook fish, because a lot of times one of those hook fish will have a sailfish trailing it, and when the bait lands near it, the second fish will run over and grab it. And for bait, live threadfins, pilchards, and sardines are pretty available right now. But a live goggle eye is the way to go if you're going to fly kites and specifically target sailfish. You can slow troll the baits or even pull ballyhoo and do well. Live baits are going to do well. The average sailfish is going to be 40 to 50 pounds. I got a photo. This is a great photo. Captain Matt George of Stewart sent me of a shot of a sailfish they hooked in 72 feet of water off Hope Sound. And that fish ate a live threadfin.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Yeah, the tarpon bite on the beach has really come to a halt, but there's still a lot of fish around the inlets, particularly on the outgoing tides. There's also been a lot of resident fish in the crossroads area of Stewart. There's also fish in the north and south forks of the St. Lucie River, up in the Indian River around Big Mud Creek and around the moorings, and then in the Loxahatchee River up around the Boy Scout camp. The inlet fish are the best bite right now. They're eating live mullet or threadfins, drifted out the inlet with the tides, particularly in the evenings when the boat traffic is down. And then in the rivers, live mullet and live crabs. The crabs are starting to flush a little bit, are doing well. Also, you can take a 4-inch Houdini-colored sea shad and just throw it at the rolling fish, take a second and reel it back real slow and get that bite. Average tarpon, 40 to 80 pounds. Captain Chris Britton sent me this photo. He led his anglers to this nice tarpon in the Indian River, and that fish ate a live mullet.
Nice.
And the other bite we got going, the summertime snick population, that's really pushed down on the beach and into the inlet. So, places like Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, Jensen Public Beach, South Beach and Fort Pierce, all those areas are seeing good numbers of cruising fish. All the inlets have their summer spawning populations as well. Really good bites going on at Jupiter and Lake Worth inlets on the incoming tides, and also at the Lake Worth and Juneau piers. And for baits, live threadfins, croakers, that's working best in the inlet. On the beach, that 4-inch sea shad, copper juice or green hornet, that's pretty much money on those beach fish. You don't even really need anything else. A green and white fly, if you like to throw flies, and live croakers. Average snook's around 10 pounds. We're catching them up to 20. Jeff Harkavy, Jeff, he caught this nice snook in the St. Lucie Inlet on a nice little baitfish fly.
Nice. All right, well, let's talk about bass fishing. What do you got this week, bub?
Yeah, it's just been brutally hot, and water temperatures on Lake Okeechobee are already in the 90s. So the best bites on the lake have been at dawn and at dusk and just after the rainstorms, which is when the water is at its coolest point. You want to be on the water by 6 a.m., looking for diving birds, spawning shad flipping on the surface, or school bass busting on the surface. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shaw of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He's saying the good schoolfish bites are outside Buckhead Ridge, down by Third Point, and also around the South Shoal, mostly out in that open water areas. You want to start your day throwing white spinner baits with a gold willow leaf blade. You can throw frogs. You can throw swim baits like a Bass Assassin Elite Shiner or a Bass Assassin Die Dapper. Any of those in the shad colors are going to work. Anglers are targeting the big fish by either flipping the Kissimmee grass or any floating mats that they can find. They're throwing June bug colored worms or working the bluegill beds that they can find with a topwater plug or a swim bait early in the day. Right now, it's like a 10 to 20 fish morning. Average bass is 1 to 3 pounds, and the bite's over by about 10:30.
All right, bub, great report. We're going to take a look at the TH Marine hotspots from the East region. Mike says that the whiting and the croaker at Tiger Shores Beach, the sand fleas or fish bites, an easy flea on a 2-hook surf rig is going to work for them. And then the swordfish in 1,700 feet of water off of Palm Beach. Daytime bite is using squid, ladyfish, and even a dolphin belly, Bree.
Make sure you bring that water because it is hot out. All right, well, we are well underway with the Shoreline Showdown Surf Fishing Tournament Series presented by Fish Bites. 4 tournaments, 1 championship, and over $75,000 in guaranteed payouts, plus fishing for a chance to qualify to compete for the title of the Ultimate Surf Angler. We are 2 down with 2 more to go, so for more information on dates and locations, make sure you scan that QR code or visit shorelineshowdown.com. All right, Captain Pat Deneen in the Seasucker Panhandle region has a few important tips for us if deep dropping is on our schedule this weekend. So, Pat, tell us what we need to know.
Hey, Bree, deep dropping in the Northern Gulf, extremely popular, especially as other species seasons regulations have become a lot tighter. Targeted species include tilefish, snowy groupers, yellow-edged grouper, and a variety of deep-water snappers. The tilefish are generally going to be on the muddy bottom, the muddy flat bottom in 900 to 1,000 feet of water. Popular areas include just north of the spur and between the steps and the nipple. Both are great places to seek tilefish, and tilefish is really pretty easy deep dropping. Drift an area, marking drops that produce, and then replicating that drift. A little bit of current goes a long way. You don't want to just stagnate. You want to cover bottom. Keep your lead on the bottom. You're going to catch some tilefish in that 900 foot of water. The groupers and snappers are definitely going to be more structure oriented. The Gulf Pipeline running from Louisiana to Tampa, great starting point, or any other deepwater wrecks or hard bottom. Cut bonita, ladyfish, squids all make great deep drop baits. The key to success is to make sure you keep your lead on the bottom and keep it close to the bottom. And that's really it for the deep water. Here we go. Offshore, snappers, vermilion, snappers, and red snappers. Staying offshore, the snappers are doing really well. They're being caught off similar spots. You just have to fish a little different target each. The red snappers are mainly being caught with live baits, cigar minnows, and herrings on a Carolina rig. You want to chin hook your baits on a 4 to 5/0 circle hook. 5 feet of 50-pound leader is a great way to go. For the red snappers, fish your baits close to the bottom, but not on the bottom. Keep your rod tip high. Once you get a bite, drop your rod tip and start cranking. The vermilions are mainly being caught on 2 chicken rigs, baited with cut squid and minnows. For the vermilions, sometimes right off the bottom, but more often a few cranks off the bottom. Moving inshore, there's been a very consistent redfish bite at the Hathaway Bridge on the afternoon falling tide over in Panama City. You want to free line live baits or use a Carolina rig with an ounce or 2 ounce baits. Fish the upcurrent side of the pilings, use cigar minnows, herrings, pilchards, pinfish, or other small minnows as bait. You can also sink a swim bait or fish those baits on the bottom with a slow jigging motion. Most of these redfish are quite large, well above the slot, and that's been very consistent every afternoon. Finally, inshore is a great time of the year to be night fishing around the lights for speckled trout and redfish. I mean, the up here, Bree, the boat traffic has been insane in the daytime. So you get on the water at night, it's much quieter, much slower, a lot less traffic. The cooler temperatures, the fish are concentrated on those lights. Small live baits, free lines on light leaders are generally the most productive. Spot minnows, croakers, pilchards, finger mullets, all great baits. Stay as far off the light as you can, making long casts to the upcurrent side, and then let your bait drift back through the light, staying just tight enough so that you can feel the bite. Generally, you will not get a lot of bites off of each light. You're going to get a few bites when you first get there. You're going to still see the fish, but you're not going to get the bites. Get those bites, then move on to the next one.
All right, Pat, speaking of bites, how's their tarpon fishing doing, bud? I'm missing all you guys up there. For the last 2 years, I've been up there the 3rd and 4th week, right in through the 4th of July, and I'm missing you guys. How you doing up there?
It's been pretty insane, Rick. I mean, we had a lot of wind we've had wind and seas, but once you get past that, the fish are here, and it's been pretty darn good.
That's what I like to hear. We'll give our love to Tony and the little Katie Bug, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you so much.
And happy 4th of July.
Yeah, man.
Happy 4th. Everybody, be cool.
All right, man. See ya. It's time for the hotspots from the Panhandle region. He says, inshore, the Pensacola Pier has been having a steady king mackerel bite. Fish live baits on a wire rig or cast gotchas and spoons. And then if you want to go offshore, Bree, it's a long way, but the floater rigs have been good for yellowfin tunas, live baits and poppers early in the morning, late in the day, and the night has been the best for that stuff.
He's all ready for the fireworks. He's like ready right now. It's time to
ready.
Go. He's ready for the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's ready. And he's tired. I can tell he's tired.
Yep. long, hot days, you know?
He might have been a little overserved this afternoon while he was cleaning his boat. It's hot out there, you know what I mean?
It is, I know.
I feel his pain.
You gotta quench your thirst somehow. All right, we're almost ready for the fireworks to begin, but we're seeing what Captain Jimbo Thomas has planned for us in the Casa Vieja Southeast region when we come back. So make sure you stay hooked. Look at that pretty face. We'll be back.
Oh.
The Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. Island Lures. Tournament Tackle. The IGFA. Every fish, every water, every angler since 1939. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. 30 years of fishing for adventure. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. Real Legends, available at bellsflorida.com. And Taco Marine, master the catch.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about the Power Pole Charge. And you know, the reason why I love this battery charger so much is it's 4 systems in one. Remember this, it's very lightweight, the lightest charger that I know of, with it being 8 pounds. The other thing that I love about it is I have the ability now to charge my batteries when I'm running back to the boat ramp after using them all day long. So certainly that's something that I like. But also a third feature that is really one of my favorites is I have the ability to transfer the charging from the engine to the trolling motor batteries, and I can charge that way. Or if I need to charge up my engine battery, I can simply slide through the app and make all that power go towards that engine battery. So I have the choices when it comes to being able to what I'm going to charge. And the fourth reason I really love it is because of the emergency start feature. I have the ability to click on the emergency start feature, use the battery juice that I have stored, and guess what? Jump that battery so that I can get home from being 20 miles out in the Gulf. If you have any questions about the Power Pole Charge, simply go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week. You know, Bree, when I think about technology and how it advanced during my career, I never in my wildest dreams thought we could have a battery charger that could charge your lithium batteries and that you could monitor them both on an app, whether it's on the Power Pole app or Abyss's app. It's just I
Welcome
can't even.
to this world, Rick.
I know. It's like I can't get over it. It's
really
hard
cool,
for me
though.
to keep up, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's neat. It's changed the
really
game of
cool.
fishing for
Yeah,
sure.
it has.
All right, in the Casa Vieja Lodge Southeast region, Captain Jimbo Thomas is keeping it real when it comes to finding those bottom end fish to go with it. Hi, Jimbo.
Hey, Bree. Hey, happy birthday, and also happy 4th of July and a safe 4th of July to everybody out there. So deep dropping, it's basically bottom fishing at great depths. And you want to use an electric reel typically. If you want to be a masochist and hand wind it, go for it. But just about every offshore boat that you see nowadays has one or more electric reels sitting in those rod holders. So it's the way to go if you want to put some meat on the table. So deep drop depths, they range anywhere from 500 feet on out. And you definitely want to use some braided line because that braided line cuts through the current and it'll hold your bait on the bottom much easier. Now, in the southeast region, there's a number of excellent eating species that we fish for. Golden and blue tile fish, snow and yellow edge groupers, yellow eye snappers, queen snappers, black belly rosefish, along with swordfish and barrelfish. And you definitely want to keep up with the latest regulations because these change for these snowy groupers, these tiles, on a daily basis. So before you go out there, make sure it's legal to keep them if that's what you're looking for. Basically, a chicken rig is what we use, and the chicken rig's just a heavy, what am I saying? We use a chicken rig to drop for our deep drop fish for everything except for swords. And that's basic deep drop rig. And the amount of weight is determined on the current and also in the depth. We use anywhere from 3 to 15 pounds of weight. And you also want to attach some lights onto your rigs. That'll help you get some bites. Favorite baits are squid, bonita strips, and also barracuda chunks. But first, you got to find the fish. So catching them is the easy part. What's whether you're going to a known spot or going to a, searching for some new stuff, you want a good bottom machine and a GPS plotter. And most of the deep drop spots, they're natural ledges, ridges, and humps versus wrecks. So knowing where to drop your bait and setting up your trip, that's crucial if you want to be successful. And just like with every other kind of fishing, some days they bite better and some days they don't.
Tell us about the dolphin, Jimbo. Or tell me about the photo first.
Got a quick photo here. This is Mike Jaskowitz from Pine Island with a beautiful queen snapper that he caught deep dropping.
All right.
So dolphin, they're still very hit or miss. We've been heading offshore anywhere from 5 to 20 miles. If you're lucky enough to find some good floating debris, it's most likely going to be a good hit. Otherwise, there's been scattered sargassum weed with some bird activity over small bunches of schoolies. And they have been getting a little bigger, but we've still been releasing a lot of shorts. The fish are traveling to the south. They're most likely going to be bigger, and the fish going to the north are going to be a little smaller. We've been getting them on trolled baits, trolled ballyhoo, small dolphin lures, and there haven't been, a lot of bigger ones. But once we do find some schools, we keep a half dozen 20-pound spinners rigged with 50-pound leaders and 5/0 hooks, and either use small live baits or cut baits and have them ready to cast to those fish once you locate them. Now moving inshore, we got mangrove snapper, and they've been biting pretty good throughout the whole region. You want to look for these mangroves around any bottom structure in the bays, inlets, and also the ICW. They've been hanging around the channel edges and also around the bridges, dredge holes, and any wrecks or bottom structure, all going to be holding fish. Best fishing is going to be in the evenings. You want to use cut sardines, cut ballyhoo, or bonita, or small live baits like herrings, pilchards, or pinfish. And definitely don't chum. That's going to attract a lot of small fish. So let the fish come to you, those bigger ones. Fish your bait on the bottom with a knocker rig. You want to fish on the outskirts of the structure. And these mangroves have been anywhere from 1 to 4 pounds. Got another photo here. This is Mike Cleveland with a big Biscayne Bay mangrove snapper.
All right, tell me about the snook.
And then we got catch and release snook fishing in the inlets. These snook, they're schooled up in all of the inlets of the region. They're being caught on live pilchards, herrings, pinfish, croakers, and mullet. You want to fish them near the bottom using a Jupiter rig. And these have been big fish. They're spawning in there, some of them up in the 20-pound range. So you want to use 40 to 50-pound leaders and 4/0, 5/0, 6/0 circle hooks. If you don't have any live bait available, try working flare hawk jigs in pink or chartreuse, or 4-inch gulper bass assassin jerk baits down along the bottom. Now, they've been biting on both the incoming and outgoing tides in the early in the morning or late in the afternoon into the evenings.
All right, thank you so much, Jimbo. We're going to take a look at the Black Oak LED hotspots from the southeast region. Jimbo says that catch and release, tarpon, and snook in the inlets and off the beaches, fishing in the evening on both live and artificial baits. And then offshore, head offshore in search of the mahi on the troll with live or cut baits around the grass patches, debris, and also bird activity. I think some of our boys have been indulging on the 4th of July, and it's not even their birthday.
It's a holiday.
You would have an excuse.
It's a holiday. All right, my fellow Americans, hopefully your 4th of July weekend deep drop reports lead to barbecue victory as we celebrate this wonderful country of ours. But stay with us because we're telling you what we're catching next week, and I'm so excited for it. We'll be right back.
All right.
Next week, we are talking lobsters, so make sure to tune in. And if you would like to be a part of our live studio audience, make sure you scan that QR code or go to our website, FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com, and sign up now. Lobster's my favorite show. I can't wait to go get some.
Bree.
Yeah.
So, Bree.
Look what my breath did to that cake.
Let me tell you what happened.
I feel so loved.
Look. I took it home and it was raining.
And you left
and
it
then
in the car.
I ran out because I had groceries in the truck, and guess what? It stopped raining and got hot, and I got a black Ford truck, and that came outside in your cake.
I think it's art. It's Picasso birthday cake. It's a thought that counts.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Have a safe weekend.
Happy birthday.
Catch those fish. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Thanks, Dave.